How is managed IT changed during COVID-19? That's a good question.
Yeah, it really is. And there have been a lot of changes. Companies had to act very quickly when the rules came down to people couldn't work from home to be able to shift their workforce to work from home. Those clients who were working with us, the tools are already in place. So the tools that we use to remotely manage their network, we were able to very quickly in a very nimble fashion reconfigure so that the employees could use those tools to connect to their office computer. So, and people who are on voice over IP, they could take their telephones home. So, though it was a lot of work, we were able to very quickly shift and allow our clients to work from home.
Yeah, completely. I completely agree with that. The interesting dynamic, the thing that I remember the most, especially in the very beginning phases of the pandemic, was the split. Like, you saw that there was the brick and mortar that panicked, like they just did not prepare themselves for the idea of, oh my god, these people are not going to be in an office anymore. What
Mhm.
do we do? How do we take care of our employees? And then there was this other split where you have, e-commerce, and you do have people who have been going on the web and been like working from home remotely, and you have contractors who are working from home remotely. So you see this interesting split in in the world, and our industry had to handle that split too, because there's this one piece of, yeah, you have all these people who have to work from home now, and then you have this other piece where it's like, you're working from home, but now we have to talk about security because you're going to be using your home network, and you're going to be now doing even more so the things that you would not necessarily do at home. You'd go to work, but do it in the office, or maybe you'd have to consult with a client or go in and help them with the idea, and now you can't because you can't be within those parameters. So it's just really cool as a company how we figured out how to help both areas when that split occurred, and how you deal with that anxiety that's going on, between both partners and both areas. And that was the first
Mhm.
thing I thought of, like, wow, outside of we're a managed service company, and the way we handled it versus the way other managed service providers handled it was very
Mhm.
unique because we were able to handle that panic between both parallels, which is really interesting.
I think what really helped in that situation is that we have the relationship with the customer on the VCIO, virtual CIO basis. So we really understood their business already. It wasn't just about how to manage their technology. We understood at a fairly deep level what their business process was and
Hmm.
what they needed. So we were very easily able to, re-engineer and allow them to, to shift to working from home. But
Hmm.
the security aspect of it, is very interesting as well. So you are now using your computer from home to connect to the office computer. If that computer is not properly protected, you're using uh, uh,
Like an exposed, you have
yeah,
like an
you're using an
exposed,
exposed, unprotected computer to
yeah.
connect to the protected corporate network.
Hmm.
So, that's something that really needs to be taken into consideration.
Hmm.
And the other piece of it that's come later, not initially, but is from a business owner standpoint, is how do I know that my employees are really working?
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
can you show me logs of them logging on? You know, we think productivity's up, but we're not sure. Or we think productivity's down, but we really can't measure it. So
Mhm.
we've had multiple requests from companies to use third-party solutions to be able to track and monitor when their employees are working as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what I initial thoughts too, like in the beginning of the pandemic, what happened in our bubble in Cybertrust, the clients actually had such a better experience because we've given them that virtual CIO experience from the beginning. So we were proactive, and we provided plan A, plan B, plan C, maybe not for a pandemic, but if there was a power outage, or if there was, in California here we have fires, so people sometimes need to evacuate the building. So we're always thinking of step A, step B, step C to make sure that they have a solution in case they can't be in the office. So a lot of the clients, and the reason why they stayed with us so long, is because we were able to be that proactive team, a part of their team, so that they have the solutions that they need, so they're not as frantic during
Right.
times like this. So I
Right.
felt like a lot of our clients, they had their minds put at ease.
Right. And the disaster recovery plans that we put in place as just a matter of course of working with us as a managed service provider, those were already in place and we were just able to act upon them.
Yeah, yeah. So pandemic was interesting. It's interesting because you get to see what's happening with us, and then we see what's happening outside of us, and we're like, man, we want to help. Like, how can we help you?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the precautions that our company has taken to keep our employees safe and to keep our clients safe because we have people that are going out into the field. And Sophia, would you like to address that?
Absolutely. That's an amazing question. And it's something that's really prudent to what's going on now that the pandemic and COVID has been going on for a long duration of time. It's really important for the staff and for especially me going out there I'm out there in the field with technicians too. The initial precaution was making sure that every single person in our office is safe. We want to make sure that within the office we have set social distancing parameters. We have dividers for every table to make sure that everybody's safe during the times that they're in the office because we're going out, we're exposing ourselves so much. So the idea is not only being safe with the clients, but I want my team to know, and we want our team to know that they're safe in house as well. So we've set up those guidelines. We've set up parameters and made sure that, we have healthy washing of hands, we have antibacterial available all the time. We make sure that, if there is any signs or any feelings of, not feeling well, we take that into really high priority and we take care of our staff almost immediately. So that's step one, make sure that in our house we're safe. And then once we step out those doors, it's a combination of having our own guidelines, but we also want to be accommodating to the clients as well. So the clients themselves have a set of guidelines that we make sure we ask ahead of time. And we say, hey, what is it that you need from us to make sure that when we step into your space, that we're following the guidelines and precautions that you're taking? And we establish that communication in the beginning so that we can set those guidelines and we tell our staff when they go out, hey, this particular client is asking for a temperature check. They're asking for, make sure we have long sleeves on. For us, particularly, our office attire is long sleeves. We have our CyberTrust logo. We do wear masks and we have gloves on, especially because we do know that, on the field, we may need to touch a keyboard. And with that, we always have people have antibacterial with them as well, because even though we're wearing the gloves, we don't want to provide cross-contamination. So we make sure we clean the gloves, we have all the protective gear on, and then we take that step further and we have the communication with the team, with the client as well, and say, hey, what would you like us to do? We're here to help you, and we want to make sure that you're safe as well.
Yeah, it's really important to understand what the client's protocol is.
Hmm.
And when I go out to visit a new client, and we are going out to visit, people are coming back into their office, and a lot of cases we actually need to go out on site to see what's what. When we're talking to a new client or a new prospect, just really important to understand what their protocol is and adhere to that protocol and respect their protocol to make them feel comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah, and good point to new prospects. Maybe we've gone to quite a few new people where we don't know their parameters. We haven't had that conversation yet. So we bring our own tools. There was a time where we had to step in. We brought in our own devices so that we're not touching any of their devices. We can do network assessments. We can do evaluations right from our mobile devices.
Hmm.
So we have that, and we'll be able to have that verbal communication and tell them we can do more in-depth analysis during the run of actually building out what they need and what their solutions are.
Well, you even went as far as bringing your own keyboard and mouse,
Oh
right?
yeah.
To be able to plug into, the server device so that you
Absolutely.
didn't have to physically touch
Yeah.
the user's
That
tools.
particular client was good. I actually loved that client. It was one of my favorite experiences because they did have the precaution of, hey, we want to check your temperature. We have Purell at the door. We want to make sure that, when you're stepping in that everything is okay. And I was like, absolutely. You know what? Because I have to touch so many computers and help you out, I'm going to bring my own keyboard and mouse. How does that sound? And they were so grateful that we went that extra step so that we wouldn't
Mhm.
be able to provide that cross contamination. And that's something that I pushed moving forward, saying, guys, this is a great idea. Let's just do that so that we can protect them and protect us. Oh, this is a question that is brought up to us quite often. What type of concerns do remote employees have with cybersecurity?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When employees are moving home, they're generally using their home computer. In some cases, we've had clients who have taken the office computer home. When you take this computer that's in this sterile, protected environment and you move it to someone's house where it's not sterile and protected anymore, there are concerns of being able to have a virus or some sort of malicious thing happen to that computer that could travel, into the corporate network. So it's really important to really think through how you're doing that strategy. We're recommending to our clients that we actually they either provide computers for their employees to use from home, and we isolate those from their home computers that their kids and other family members are using, or if it's absolutely necessary for them to use the computer at home, that we put our management agents on it and that we make sure that that computer is protected. In some cases, we've even put additional firewalls and additional hardware into those people's homes to make sure that that environment is safe so that they can connect to the corporate environment and keep it safe as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we definitely put on plenty of our tools, and that's what makes being a managed service provider so unique, is that because we're managing things, we can just push things out like as just really quickly and efficiently, and we can provide that turnover and provide those solutions really
Mhm,
quickly.
mhm.
And one of the benefits of having, a managed firewall through a managed service provider is that, you can actually tell that person, okay, let's put our tools on. We can simply deploy the tools and, provide the software to them. And then from there, we have the firewall that we're managing where we can provide that connection to make that security, just tight.
Sure, the
Yeah.
VPN connection. Another piece of it too that you really have to address is you have to educate the end user, because we can put all these tools on, we can put all these precautions in place to protect the data and protect the computer. But if we don't educate the end users, therein lies the problem. Because the end
Yeah.
user can, if they click on something or if they open something or they install something, that's they can infect the entire network. Their computer can infect the entire network.
Mhm.
Um, the end user is the kind of the weakest point, and hackers know that, right? So they're fishing for their credentials. They're trying to get them to click on something that will allow remote access to the computer. So
Yeah.
we have protocols we put in place. So we actually train the end users. We train them through a variety of methods, either directly in person. We also have automated training that we go through. We do fish testing to make sure that the end users are aware of what could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. The testing is really important, and we're really big on education because we know that that's a very open weak point
Hmm.
that that hackers actually go for. They want to make sure that employee can be vulnerable and stay vulnerable, right? So they'll find like legitimate ways to trick them. And our goal as a team, as a managed service team, and as their team, as their virtual CIO, is to say, hey, let's educate them. Let's make sure that we have as much as we can offer, whether it's PDFs or, like you said, we have automated systems that do
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
We have, on-site training, 2-hour training that we could provide during onboardings. We usually talk about it, which is, we want to provide that solution from the very beginning and let them know, this education is important because it is important to us.
Yeah, we had those protocols in place all along. This wasn't something new for COVID.
Hmm.
So for companies that were already our clients, the end users are already trained when COVID hit.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but for new clients coming on, we have those protocols that we put them through to be able to train them as well.
Hmm.